The circle etched into the sand glowed faintly as the officiant, a gnarled elder with tattoos carved into his horns, raised his hand. The duel between outsider and Kayla of the bloodline is bound by the oaths of steel and flame. The first blood drawn decides the victor. May the runes bear witness. The Veilthar warriors slammed their spears against the ground in unison. Yarrick tightened his grip on his borrowed blade, a crude practice sword they'd tossed him as though he were already dead. It had no runes, no ancestral resonance. Steel. Kayla lunged first. Her movement was liquid, graceful, and terrifyingly fast. Yarrick barely raised his sword in time to parry, sparks flying where steel met rune-lit alloy. The impact numbed his arm. The crowd jeered. "You're slower than a hatchling human," one of them barked. Kayla pressed forward, her strikes raining down like a storm. Yarrick retreated step by step, his boots digging trenches in the sand. He wasn't a swordsman. He'd boxed a little back on Earth, sure, and he'd learned to brawl in the scrapyards of Titan Station, but fencing with a 7-foot alien princess wielding a rune-forged blade? That wasn't in the manual. But Yarrick wasn't about to lie down and die. He ducked under a sweeping strike, sidestepped another, and managed a clumsy counter. More shove than slash. Kayla smirked, almost disappointed. "You fight like a worker drone," she taunted. "But you endure." Curious. Her blade darted in again. Yarrick raised his sword too late. Steel-kissed flesh. Her edge cut across his palm, opening the skin from thumb to wrist. Pain flared hot, blood spilling across his grip. And then the world changed. The rune burst. The moment Yarrick's blood hit Kayla's blade, the runes carved into the alien steel ignited. Not faintly. Not with the usual glow of ancestral resonance. They roared to life like wildfire, flaring white gold. The air hummed, vibrating with a resonance that rattled bones. Kayla froze mid-strike, eyes wide in shock. Her blade trembled in her hands as if it were no longer hers to control. The runes twisted, forming shapes none of the Veilthar had ever seen. Sigils bending, reforming, burning with new patterns. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Then silence. One by one, the Veilthar fell to their knees. The officiant dropped his staff. His voice cracked as he whispered, "The prophecy. The blood caller has come." Yarrick staggered back, clutching his wounded palm, utterly confused. "What the hell just happened?" he demanded. Kayla stared at him as though seeing him for the first time. Her proud sneer was gone, replaced by disbelief and fear. "No outsider should awaken the blade," she whispered. "Only one of the chosen bloodline could ever." The ground trembled beneath their feet. A deep hum rolled through the dueling circle, not from the earth, but from the Veilthar's ancient worship that hung above the city. Its core responded to the runes, as though the ship itself recognized Yarrick's blood. Kayla dropped her blade. It clanged against the ground, runes still blazing. She sank to one knee. And as if rehearsed for centuries, the entire clan followed. Hundreds of proud warriors bent their heads toward the humans standing in their circle. Yarrick blinked. "Wait, are you kneeling to me?" The legend revealed. The High Matron herself stepped forward from her throne seat at the edge of the circle, draped in layers of bone-stitched armor, her horns etched with the history of her people. She was a living monument to the Veilthar. Her voice carried the weight of command and prophecy alike. "Our legend spoke of this day," she intoned, "when the stranger's blood would awaken the lost sigils, when the runes would flare not for kin, but for the outsider. You human are the echo-bearer, the one who binds the clans." Yarrick almost laughed. "You've got the wrong guy. I'm an engineer." Fix radios. I'm not your whatever that was. But the blade at Kayla's feet still glowed, and the warrior still knelt. The High Matron's gaze sharpened. Do not deny what the runes have proclaimed. By blood and steel you are now entwined with us. The clans will obey you whether you wish it or not. Kayla rose slowly, her pride visibly warring with her shock. She looked at Yarok with something new in her eyes. Not disdain, not arrogance, but a wary respect. You cut me, Yarok said, holding up his bleeding hand. Now all of this is happening. Care to explain how your magic light show works? They are not mere lights, Kayla said stiffly. They are the voices of our ancestors. For centuries, the blades have lain dormant, their power fading. Yet with your blood they awaken. The High Matron raised her staff. The prophecy says the blood caller will rise when the clans stand on the brink of ruin. Our enemies gather. War presses upon us. And now you stand here human. You are the turning of the tide. Yarok stared at the kneeling aliens, then at the blade still glowing with his blood. He exhaled slowly. I didn't sign up for this. But maybe I don't have a choice anymore. Rising conflict. Over the next days, Yarok was thrust into the heart of Vaelthar society. Where once he was mocked as an outsider, now warriors bowed their heads when he passed. The clans believed he could command the runes, awaken their ships, and lead them against the encroaching threat of the Zaith Dominion, a rival species known for burning planets to ash. But Yarok wasn't a leader. He was a repairman with grease under his nails and a talent for patching up comms relays. Kayla, however, shadowed him constantly. Once his rival, she now seemed bound by some invisible thread. She sparred with him, trained him in their customs, and studied him with quiet intensity. One evening, as the twin moons rose, she confronted him. You could walk away, she said. Leave our world, return to your people. But if you stay, you will carry the weight of ours. Yarok looked at her, at the firelight catching on her violet eyes. Why me? You're the warrior. You're the one they should follow. Her jaw tightened. Because the runes chose you, not me. And Vaelthar obey the runes above all. He held up his palm, now scarred but faintly glowing when near her blade. Maybe they made a mistake. Kayla's voice softened. Or maybe they finally brought us someone who doesn't crave power. That may be exactly what we need. The invasion. The choice was taken from him when the Zaith ships appeared in the skies. Dark, jagged silhouettes blotted out the stars, their weapons primed. The Dominion had come to finish the Vaelthar once and for all. Panic swept the clans. Their warships were old, their weapons faltering. For years they had survived by ritual and honor, but against the Dominion, honor meant nothing. The High Matron turned to Yarok. Blood caller. Only you can rouse the ancestral fleet. Without you we are ash. Yarok felt the weight of thousands of eyes. He wasn't ready. But maybe he didn't need to be. He thought back to every relay, every circuit he'd coaxed back to life. Machines had always listened to him. Not because of magic, but because he understood them. Maybe the runes weren't so different. Standing before the Vaelthar warship's core, he pressed his scarred palm against the control obelisk. Light exploded outward. The entire ship shuddered awake, systems surging to full power, runes blazing across its hull. Across the city, dormant warships ignited one by one, like stars reborn. The fleet of a fallen empire stirred from slumber, all because of one human's blood.